Hey guys, this is Rollout with Rollout Reviews doing another Let's Build. This time it is Gali, Uniter of Water. Now, I explained in the last Let's Build for Uxar that I was going to be splitting the Let's Builds for the 2016 sets up into 2 days because 12 sets is a whole lot to do in one sitting. This is the start of my second day here, even though there shouldn't be a break for you guys. A little bit of behind the scenes, I just thought I'd let you know because maybe I'm a bit more energetic than I was in the last video. Anyway, let's set Gali here off to the side and take a look at the packaging before getting right into things. She's got this weird propellery spear harpoon thing. I don't know what to make of that. And overall, she just doesn't quite look as cool as her last form, I don't think, personally. But I guess we'll see once she's all built up. You have the comic on the back. There she is combined with Akaida there for Shark Girl Torpedo Gali, which that looks kind of cool. Probably one of my least favorite of the combinations visually, but again, I want to see it in hand before I make too many judgments. But the idea is cool, at least. There is the mask, and then up top we have Gali's Nuva symbol and the creature symbol, or whatever they're calling these. Nuva symbol is what it was in G1. Who knows what the official term for that symbol is now? I guess we'll find out later. And of course, the Mask of Control. Anyway, let's cut it open and see what secrets are inside. Come on. This second piece of tape is always a little bit of a bother to get to for some reason. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the problem. So, instructions. One big bag, and then one little blade piece. And it's lonesome, not in a bag at all in the box. So, close this up. And we'll get to opening these bags. But first, allow me to bring the camera down a bit here. Just like that. Maybe that's a little too much. Okay. Putting away our knife, and let's see what we got. So there is actually one little bag inside of this big bag, but usually there's kind of two separate bags, so that's interesting. Get the instructions out of the way here. Make sure there aren't any pieces in the corners. And dump out our tiny little bits here. Okay, should be good to go. So here's the new blade piece with the blue tip. It's the first time we're seeing this color, and that looks pretty cool. Azure, or dark azure, is one of my favorite colors, and this does seem a little bit brighter, maybe just because it's fused with the silver here, so it kind of changes the shade slightly. But that looks pretty nice. Oop, let me just drop that on the ground there. Here is the mask, and I don't know. I don't like it quite as much as last year's mask, just because I think my favorite part about this mask was the top section with the fins there and the vent. And I just liked the way things looked on the upper half of the mask, and that's primarily what was changed here. There's a little vent on the chin there. This is sort of relatively the same. Let me move my lights here so you can hopefully see that better. And then the top here just kind of has this, I don't know, this weird, crystally look that kind of all the masks have, but it looks sort of strange on Gali's mask, even compared to some of the others. And then the goggles are kind of more defined on this one too. I don't know. I just don't really like it as much. This section here especially kind of reminds me of Nokama Metru's mask, with these little bits there. Obviously, it's a little less fish-like than Nokama's mask. No real similarities to the Cow Nuva here, really. Aside from maybe like the gills down here and the little vent on the chin, I don't know. And then here it is with the Cow, because it's got the similar goggle look to it. But the 2015 mask had that as well. And then here's the gold one, and I actually kind of like this, because it has the trans dark blue here. You know, we didn't get a blended mask for Gali with the skull villains, and the only way to get a translucent 2015 Gali mask was through, like, the LEGO Inside Tour, and that mask is extremely super rare. I think one sold for, like, $500 on eBay recently, which is ridiculous. So it's nice to have a new Gali mask in the trans dark blue of the original mask, or at least relatively that color. So that's kind of neat. I actually think I like the way this looks a bit better than the way this looks, which is a first for these 2016 masks. And then here we have the chest with the Nuva symbol on it there. Orange is the color of the day here instead of yellow from her last form. And then you got some of the Vorok's armor pieces in orange here as well. These have a little bit of blue on them. And so that is kind of nice. Not a whole lot of new aside from that. So let's get into building this thing. All right. So let me actually put the instructions down here closer to me, and we'll get into it. So pretty much the same right off the bat as the other Toa here. Plugging this piece in there, and then sliding that through, lining that up, and come on, there we go. Where is the other gear? Here it is. Oh, there's actually this for her propeller spear thing. Again, not completely sold on her weapon, but maybe once I have it here, it'll grow on me. Now, there is actually a little bit of system in her build, kind of like Uxar, and I think maybe Pohatu has some too. But yeah, there's this little vented piece that goes on there like that. And then we're kind of back to the same sort of thing. Oh, that goes there, actually. And a gray pin instead of a black one, which will make things loose, but this is going to be locked in place anyway, so it's not like that matters. I wonder why they went for these gray pins instead of black ones. Maybe it's because this is how the propeller piece attaches, or no, because that doesn't make any sense, because I think it would attach with one of these. I don't know. I don't understand that. Whatever. Unity piece here goes on just like we'd expect, right? Right? Yeah. And then this goes on there. And one of these is going to slide through here, which is interesting. Actually, no. Oh, I did do this wrong. Okay, this is a little bit different than we're used to seeing. I think this is the first one where the Unity piece actually attaches like this. Is it the first? Yeah, I don't think Lee was attached like that, unless I did it wrong. Could be possible, I don't know. But I don't remember that. Okay, so now we kind of build the shoulder assembly. I wonder what's going on with this side here. Kind of asymmetrical there for now, at least. Okay, there's this, and then this attaches there, and then these go like that, and that, and that. I see. And that slides through like that. Okay. Do kind of the same thing on the other side. It does look like her shoulders are a little bit slimmer than some of the others. Although Liwa's were slimmer than some of the others, so that doesn't really, it's not really telling of any kind of feminine proportions, I suppose, but it's not like that really matters. Okay, should be the same thing on this side, right? Actually, it isn't. He uses one of these instead of the gray. Oh, that's kind of clever, actually. Okay, so this goes like that. And then, of course, like this, just like before. With these pieces. And then this attaches like that. So that they're kind of, so that, you know, that is what plugs in there, whereas this plugged in there. I wonder if that's going to be used for anything. Interesting asymmetry there. Again, I wonder if that's going to amount to anything. Actually, she does have like a shoulder pad that's slightly different, so that's probably what that is. That's where that attaches, I would assume. Okay, moving on to the legs. Again, I don't like that they all have friction extenders in their ankles this time around. One of my least favorite things about Tahu. And literally all 6 of them have friction extenders in their ankles. I suppose it helps keep them upright when the creatures are attached on their back, but it just makes them a little bit more of a hassle to stand with their feet flat on the ground. At least in my experience, I've found. Just makes them kind of wobbly, you know, like their feet don't line up just right, because it's a little more difficult to do that because of the tighter joint in the ankle. I don't know if anybody has had the same experience that I'm talking about here. Could just be a personal problem. Probably is. Okay. Also, it's nice to actually see this dark blue color on Gali. The Protector of Water had some dark blue, but Gali herself did not, which is neat. So, legs go on, just like that. And I think from here we're just about ready to bring the camera back up. So, let me just bring the backdrop up. And then follow up with the camera. There we go. Okay, now, upper leg armor. Her armor is rather asymmetrical. So on one side, she's got one of these, like that, little splash of orange there. And then on the other side, she has one of these, like that. Looks kind of interesting. Maybe it's like a sash or a side skirt or something like that. It actually looks much better from the front. Most pictures kind of had this piece of armor like that, and it kind of looked really gappy there. But when you turn it to the side, sort of like this, like the instructions have you do it, doesn't actually look too bad, although there is this gap kind of here. I don't know if there's anything you could do about that. Probably, though. Maybe if you, like, flipped this armor around, it might look better. I don't know. As is, I think that looks fine. Might actually have to bring the camera up just a little bit once her head is attached here. Oh, hey, look at that! That is a black pin. Or axle, I mean. A black too long axle. I haven't seen one of those in a while. They're usually red. So that's cool. I don't know. I like the black ones better. They're more conspicuous. So, yep, there you go. And then the torso goes on. Just like that. Now, onto the arms, which again are asymmetrical, I believe. Or at least the shoulder armor is asymmetrical. Her arms are kind of short too. It's kind of unfortunate that to get the thinner shoulders on Gali and Liwa, it kind of uses these Hordika necks here, which raises the shoulders up. That does look slightly awkward, unfortunately. But there you go, there are the arms. And then, yeah, on the shoulders, you have these. But then on one side, you've got this, like that. And on the other side, you've got this kind of thing going on. So there's kind of a cross design here. Orange, orange, crystal piece there. And that, I think, is Gali. Now just to make her weapon here. So, you got this in silver, which is kind of nice. A little chain piece here. Plug that on the other end. And then this little, I don't know, it's kind of like a chain harpoon on one end. Some of the Toa, Pohatu and Gali, have little dangly bits on their spear weapons, so that I guess they can swing around when you swing their waist here. Which is not something I showed off on this set as I was building it. Although it's exactly the same as all the others, so I shouldn't really have to at this point. You kind of get the idea, I feel like. But now there's this piece, which I think is the same piece that the Ultra Build Kylo Ren has for his triple-bladed saber thing, or the cross guard for his lightsaber. So there's one of those included with this set as well. Then this piece here slides through. We have another one of these in silver. And then that attaches here. So, I mean, it's kind of like a sword guard in a way, so far, at least. Especially since I'm going to be attaching this piece here. And there's Gali with sort of a rapier weapon. Which is kind of cool. I don't know. Something about that I almost like better than her spear propeller nonsense she's got going up top here. Then, these connect together like that. And this slides through like so. That goes through here, and we put the gear on there like that. So you can freely spin this section. Like so. And now, this little jewel piece, and these spiky propeller things. I don't know, maybe she can like use this with her water manipulation to like make whirlpools or something. I don't know. It does seem odd to me though. I don't quite understand. Is there an actual weapon that has something like this on the end? That's like a spear just with a spinny propeller of doom on one end. I don't know. Actually, you know, you have her hold it with two hands here by putting this there and plugging it on, but you could pull this out and kind of set that off to the side or store it somewhere, and then have her wield this whole thing sort of like a giant sword, again with the guard here. That kind of looks cool. But let's do it the way we are expected to. Come on. I'm gonna make sure I don't bend this thing here. It's very thin plastic down there. And anyway, this attaches over here. And then we plug these together. Like that. Let's get her posed a little bit better here. So yeah, there's her her thing. Again, I don't understand this, but whatever. Here are the extra pieces before we put her mask on. So there you go. You do get an extra one of these, which is nice. And here is Gali masked and ready to go. Again, I don't know. There's just something about this design that I don't like as much as last year's. Just from a character design perspective, you know, she does definitely seem less feminine, or less, you know, intentionally feminine, at least. There was kind of a subtle femininity to her last form that I really liked, because, you know, Toe of Water in the original series generally just kind of looked exactly like the others, so it was nice that there was a little bit of a difference in her build before, and I don't see it as much here. You could definitely pose her to make her look a little more, I don't know, petite than the other Toa, but yeah, it's not quite there as much. And then here she is with the golden mask. Also, I'm not sure if I showed this as well as I could have. She does have the Nuva symbol on her forehead here. And there she is with the golden mask there, which actually doesn't look too bad, but mainly because I just like this color up here. But, you know, this one definitely suits her color scheme a little bit better. But there is Gali. So let's bring the box back in, if I can find it. Where did I put it? Hello? I dropped it on the ground. Sorry about that. Here we go. There is the box. And that is about it. So, this is IX Roll It IX, signing off.